What's up, everybody? Today we are here with Pastor Hal Mayer. Welcome to the International Health Podcast. My name is Carolina Plummer. I am your host, Hal. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. And I'll just say this. I think one of the reasons I'm on the podcast today, I am responsible for Carolina and Tyler's premarital counseling. And so I would just like to say this. If any way you're going, man, they need work, then you can just blame it on me. It's probably my fault. Along the way, it was probably one of the most fun premarital counseling sessions that I've ever done. But if you think they have a great marriage, then there you go. You got
Oh
it.
my God. You know what's
I'm
so funny? I was actually going to say something nice about you
Well,
based on that.
well, I said you can blame it on me. So there you go. You have the out.
So the goal of this episode is to talk about spiritual health. Segue into saying that you did our postmarital counseling, and it was honestly an eye-opening experience to me. Sometimes he's veg on the couch for 8 hours and watch football, and I just do my thing, and it's okay.
We've grown so much. That's so good.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Hal, why don't you tell us, like, in 1 to 2 minutes, a little bit about yourself? What do you do now, and how did you get to where you are now?
I am one of the teaching pastors at Grace Family Church in Tampa, but I have held a lot of different positions. I was actually in student ministry for 13 years. I was young adults ministry for a couple years. I was a campus pastor for a couple years, and now into the teaching/discipleship pastor role. Been in ministry just about my whole life. Actually, I didn't want to go into ministry. Tried to run away from ministry, and God kind of smacked me upside the head, and been doing that for a long time. And we've got 2 kiddos. I got an 11-year-old named Hal and a 6-year-old named Dax, who is the happiest person in the world all the time. All the time. This kid, when he gets up out of bed at 6 a.m., gets up on top of his bed, jumps out of his bed, and runs to do everything. Like literally comes downstairs and he goes, I am so excited. Like he's clapping as he's coming downstairs. And so for 2 non-morning people, it's been an incredibly fun journey in that.
You need that, though. You
Oh,
need that.
No, I don't. No, I don't. We've had to have, hey, buddy, you're up here. We've got to get you. You're at like a 15 out of 10. We need you at like a 7 at least. But
I pray for his wife, and if you're gonna have to do that marital counseling too.
man, if he doesn't marry a morning person, it's gonna be an interesting, because he's not quiet. Like he's not quiet at all. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. And so, yeah, I've been doing ministry for a while. Enjoy, love it. Feel called to it. Other side of it is our son Dax actually came out of we fostered for about 7 years in the foster care system. Had 16 kids come through our house. The last one being Dax.
Wow.
We adopted him about 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And so it's been a bunch of journeys on top of each other. Ministry is not something that just happens at the church. It happens outside the church too.
Okay, so as I said earlier, the goal of this episode is to talk about spiritual health. What is spiritual health? Why is it so important for a follower of Jesus to be spiritually healthy? That was like 3 in 1, but we can
Yeah.
break it apart.
Yeah. I think spiritual health, it's so different, because if you talk about physical or emotional health, like you can gauge physical health pretty easily. You can go to a doctor, you can run some sprints or not run, lift some weights, whatever it may be. You can judge that pretty quickly. Emotional health, you can see somebody. I mean, we can judge people with emotional health pretty quickly, just based on the situation that they're in. It shows up. It's probably a little bit easier to hide than physical health, but the spiritual health is one that I think people fake a lot. And it can be tough to see. And I would say this, because spiritual health is not based on how you what you say. A lot of times it's not based on, a lot of times, the way you react. It's totally based on your relationship with God. Like you cannot be spiritually healthy if you are not close to God. And so it's something that we can fake a lot, but really our entire spiritual health is based out of our relationship with God, because the closer we are to God, the better we respond in every situation. The further we are from God, the more we have to figure it out as we go along and hopefully connect with God later on. I think it's like this. You can tell spiritual health many times of how long it takes somebody to go to God, how long it takes somebody to respond the way that God would want them to. And so spiritual health really comes down to, am I walking with God? And then also understanding this, and this is especially for college kids, like this is a lifetime deal. Like, this is
Yeah.
not a momentary, I reach the pinnacle of spiritual health, I'm good.
Yeah.
This is a
Right.
lifetime as I walk with God through things because the moment that I take a step forward with God, I grow, but then I need to stay close to him because the next step he's going to have me take is going to require a lot of relationship with him. And so I think as a follower of Christ, the importance of spiritual health is if I'm not spiritually healthy or if I'm not next to God, I'm not doing what he's asking me to do because I can't hear him. I'm not responding in the right way. I'm not seeing the opportunities in front of me because God reveals to us all the time just opportunities in front of us, people to talk to, conversations to have, things to say, things not to say. And so I'm not doing that. But I'm also not in the middle of what he wants me to be. Like
Yeah.
I'm not taking the steps that he wants me to. And so it's something interesting. I was talking this with our college group here the other day, speaking on this. God is not one that's going to reveal himself, his ways, his direction, his purpose for your life outside of a relationship with you.
Mm.
See, that's the key to understand. Like he cares more about a relationship with you than he does about answering your question. And he also understands that that relationship is going to be the best thing going forward. And so a lot of times the reason we're not hearing from God, the reason sometimes we're not even being blessed by God is because we're either not seeking him or the only thing that we're seeking is what he gives us, not him.
Mm.
And I always like to say God doesn't like to replace himself. And so a lot of times we're asking for something that the moment we get it,
Yeah.
we would stop praying. And God's like,
Wow.
I'm not going to give you that because
Yeah.
yeah, I want a relationship with you. And
That's
so
good.
I think it is. It's hard to gauge because you can't look at
Mhm.
somebody and go, man, they're really close with God all the
Right.
time. I mean, there's moments where you go, without God, they couldn't have done that. And I think that's the thing. It's the fruit that comes off. But I think I was raised in church. I could fake it. I could fake being close to God. There's a lot of people, especially a lot of my family comes out of the Bible Belt. Like you get
Mhm.
used to it. You know church
Right.
terms, you understand church things.
Yeah.
And so spiritual health really comes down to your decision to pursue a God that's pursuing you
Yeah.
and to have that relationship with him.
Why is it important for a believer to be spiritual healthy? I think sometimes we're too loose about being spiritually healthy because you can't see it. It's literally what you're talking about. So, why is it important for a believer to be spiritually healthy?
Well, because if we're not and I'll say spiritual health, same thing as being close to God. If we're not close to God, then everything we're doing is without his power.
Mhm.
And so every
Oh,
conversation I'm walking into, everything that I'm doing lacks his power, but also many times because of that, it also lacks the humility that goes along with it. I think one of the
yeah.
biggest signs of Christians that are faking it is either a false humility or a big pride. They tend to go with either one of those things, and so everything is about them. Everything's about what they can do. All of those things instead of what God can do. And even on the side of man, when God's the one that heals you, you're okay
Yeah.
saying that you were broken. When God's the one that helps you, you're okay saying you needed that help. But if we're and this happens all the time, we try to take back over because we like to be the ones being in charge and we like to claim it. I did
Right.
that. And
Right.
so when we fully get to the place of like God's in control, without him, I can't do this, then there's a humility that comes out that the world sees. And so I think the salt and light dynamic is we're bringing the true presence of God into people's lives. What Jesus would have been like on this earth. And when Jesus walked into rooms, it's crazy. Even the people that were nothing like him liked him. Like
Yeah.
there was something about him that was different.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at him like from that side of this guy's a huge hypocrite. No, he's walking in a way with humility, but at the same time, he is God. Like, and
Hmm.
so he met people that were far away from God, and because of the way he responded, they wanted to know God. And so I think that's the dynamic. If we don't have that spiritual health, if we don't have that relationship with God, when we're walking into things, we're not walking in with the power of God, the humility that we need to have. And so what we're saying and what we're doing is not having the impact that we want it to.
Wow.
So it's
Yeah.
just it's going in without the battery, without the power behind it, and so that becomes the
Good.
problem.
What are some signs that someone is spiritually unhealthy? I know it's kind of hard, but what is a question that I probably can ask myself? I'm spiritually unhealthy.
One, have you just stopped spending time with God? Um, is is he? Do you not talk to him anymore? Or I mean, ask this question: Is my prayer time about what I can get from God, or is there anything else? Like if all my prayers got answered, how many people would be affected?
Right.
Would it just be me, or maybe the closest people to me, or am I praying for other people that are outside of my circle of influence, or people that I want to talk to or witness to? And so it's one of those things of I'm far from God. I all of a sudden I'm allowing sin and temptation to creep in longer. I'm allowing
Okay.
temptation to stay longer. I'm doing things that aren't necessarily. I mean, the Paul would say this way: they're we could do them, but they're not beneficial. It's
Uh-huh.
not, and so we're starting to allow things into our life that 6 months ago we would have gone. I would not have done that. And so I think our spiritual health, what happens is as it decreases, because you're always going one way or the other.
Right.
There is no such thing as staying just neutral,
Yeah.
or I've
Good.
grown to this level and I just stay there. You're
Yeah.
either growing or you're going backwards. And
Right.
so when you look at your past 6 months, are you making steps? Is there more fruit? Are you doing good things? Or do you see yourself deciding to go backwards? Are you seeing yourself allowing things in before? Do you find yourself numbing yourself to things in the world, with the things of the world? I mean, do you all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm going to be drinking more. I started doing these other things. I started watching things I'm not supposed to. I'm spending
Yeah.
hours upon hours on social media,
Mm.
just to feel better. And
Right.
what's happening is I found my new God. And so whatever we go to when we feel bad, whatever we go to when we're angry, all those kind of things, that's our God. And so it's very easy to look back at those things and go, okay, I'm probably in a spiritually unhealthy place because everything I'm using, or everything I should be going to God for, I'm going somewhere else.
And I know you've done 21 days of prayer and fasting a couple years based out of what you've learned in the 21 days of prayer and fasting. Is that something that will keep us healthy? Will want to desire us to be close to God? What have you learned in doing this over the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'll say this: I didn't start from zero. I have a past where, as a family, we fasted before, just being in ministry, fasting and stuff like that. Normally, it's been like a 3 day, and for those who have never fasted before, the worst days are days 3 and 4 of the entire fast. But I'll say this at the same time. I believe fasting is an incredible spiritual practice because it causes us to realign with God and focus back on God. And so I do actually believe fasting is one of the best spiritual disciplines, because what you can do, and we kind of talked about this before,
Mhm.
is fasting food is great because it focuses you. Everybody wants food. Like, you can't go without food and not. And so the principle of fasting is every time I'm desiring that thing, I'm spending that time praying, or every time I would be doing that thing. And food
Yeah.
naturally takes up a lot of your day. And actually, when you start adding it up during fasting, like the time you spend thinking about food, shopping for food, cooking food, eating food, and cleaning up after food is a lot
Yeah.
of time. And so what it does is it refocuses you. And what you're saying in those moments is you're saying, I desire a closeness with God more than I desire food. But what I think fasting can go beyond that too is, we talked about before, the dynamic of many times our spiritual health can be seen in, are we going to something other than God? And so I think a lot of times we go to media, we go to social media, we go to these different things. And
Yeah.
sometimes what we can do to realign ourselves is not just say, oh, I've been bad at that or not doing good at that, but fasting that and taking that time purposefully and putting it back to God. So I'm fasting social media, and that time that I would be, I'm going to spend in prayer, or I'm fasting entertainment and I'm going to go back and I have to spend it in prayer. I think fasting is a great way, one, to realign ourselves, but also it's one of those great things that when we see something becoming a God, when we see something taking God's place, we can literally fast it and replace it with God to realign ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those incredible things. I'll say during fasting, your energy goes down, but your
Mhm.
clarity goes up. Just there's a closeness there that you feel with God that you don't. I mean, it's funny. We would get done with it and we'd start eating, and then like a weekend, we go, oh, we miss it. You can't just constantly do it. Your body needs food, and so it's not something you can do all the time. But it's one of those things that kind of reminds you. I think so often we long for the spiritual high of a worship night,
Yes.
and things
Right.
like that. Uh, but there is a greater, I think, spiritual closeness we can have when, instead of it being surrounded by something and then the singing and all that, it's just that straight connection with God of prayer. And not just me speaking, but me allowing God to speak in those moments. And I'll say this: fasting was integral in me even being where I am right now, because when we started this was the time that I was going, all right, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Um,
Wow.
I don't think I'm supposed to be at this church. I think I'm in the wrong place. It's kind of funny. I had been told basically we're not looking for your type of teaching. And so that was basically like, okay, well, this is what I feel like I want to do. And so
Right.
if they don't see it, do I need to be here? And so actually we did our first 21-day fast and really all God said was stay. And I
Wow.
was like, well, that's a word. Like I always get it. Other people I feel like get much more. Like I feel like people get like 5-year plans sometimes. I'm like, that's amazing. But half the time I don't believe them, but they say they do, which is
I
great.
love it.
Which is great. I get like a word. And for 3 years it didn't make sense. And then all of a sudden it
Wow.
made total sense.
Wow.
Uh and I will say this, those times where you're in waiting, don't just sit there and wait. Those times in waiting are times where you step into new things. And a lot of times, what God's trying to do in those moments is He's trying to build you up for what's next. I mean, in
Yeah.
those couple years was the years where my wife started a prison ministry that we were a part of. We went into foster care, like we started young adults ministry. We did a lot of things that opened up our eyes to. Okay, so this is what people are looking for. This is the state of the world right now, and these are some things that we need to speak into. And really, it broke our hearts for a lot of things. And so, I
Mm.
think a lot of times, and I'll just say this, coming out of a Christian home, we can be. And look, it's not that sin is not black and white, but people's experiences are not black and white. And
Mm.
I think what God needed to do in those moments is to break my heart of that, to help me understand that people have gone through a lot of things. And so when I talk about these 21 days of prayer and fasting, it's not just what happens in that moment, but it's because of that experience with God that causes you to stay in a place or move to a place that God needs you to be or wants you to be for what's next. And
Yeah.
so I would say fasting is the thing that truly set all of that up.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but right before I knew I was gonna marry Tyler, I went on a silent retreat for 3 days. Did I ever tell you about this?
Did Tyler ever ask you to do that at home?
N
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry.
He actually speaks more than I do, and I
I
think you
know.
should know that.
He does talk. Yes, I agree. I was
He's
playing
the
everybody. I love Carolina.
I know you do. But in this silent retreat, it was my replacement of putting all of my energy and devotion and just putting back God where he needs to be. And it's that clarity moment. Looking back now, that was probably like 4 years ago. My soul, in a way, like craves that. And I'm like, I wish I would go to a place. I think even John Mark Comer mentions it in practicing the way, and just being in a state of being. Uh, it was really cool.
I'll say this too, because we've got to say it. If you have a problem in the past with eating disorders,
Hmm.
don't fast food.
Right.
Find
Yeah.
something else. Find something because there's a lot of things that can be. I mean, like you said, the silence and stuff like that. Go. I'm gonna get rid of entertainment. I'm gonna get rid of cell phone, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just gonna sit with God. That's gonna be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
So don't become like the Pharisees in these things. Don't do that. Like don't go, well, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
No, like
It's true.
spend some time, fast, do what you do, and then ask God, hey, what is it that I need to fast next? Or what is it that I
Hmm.
need to give up as I'm following after you?
Yeah. Yeah. He would say nothing. You're perfect.
Yeah, I think we're listening to a different God, but that's all right. That's good. That's cool.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, so is there any advice you could give me or any young adult or any believer of how do you get to not an unhealthy place? And I know probably the answer is just spend time with God, but like practically, what would that look like?
So, a couple things. Um, One, it is spending time with God, but it's learning how to do that, and that takes time.
Mm. Yeah.
It's not trying to start off with, "I'm gonna read through the entire Bible in 6 months and spend 5 hours praying every day." It's starting off small, and then I'll say this too, it's finding somebody ahead of you that you trust,
Mm.
that can speak into you. You don't need to call him your mentor. I'll just say this, older people get freaked out a little bit when you say, "Will you be my mentor?"
I
Because
know.
and here's why, it's because people have said that to us, and what they really wanted was like a father, not a mentor. And so
I
just being
right.
honest, being straight up
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
more of this conversation of, "Hey, you're further ahead of me. Can we have coffee?" And sitting
Mhm.
down. And then at the same time, surrounding yourself with people that are going after the same thing. And so I think it is actually much easier to find out if you're going towards spiritual unhealth if you surround yourself with people that love God and love you, because they're going to tell you. Um,
Yeah.
and
It's
you're
true.
gonna see it and you're gonna feel it. And then it may actually, in the first part, feel like a jealousy of, well, they're here and I'm not there. And
Mm.
that's
Wow.
not God. That's actually the other
Mhm.
side. And that's something you
Wow.
got to deal with. And so part of it is, yeah, it's spending time in God's word, starting off, I mean, here's the deal, start off with something simple, start off with the book of John and the book of James, read about Jesus first. It's really hard to start in the Old Testament and read through
Mm.
all the laws and all the stuff. And here's the deal,
Right.
all the Old Testament points to Jesus anyway. So we need to know
Right.
Jesus. Spend some time in prayer, write out prayer requests. Write out the things
Mm.
that you're going to pray about. If I don't write out the things, my prayers are short and I forget half of them. There's actually a couple apps on your phone. I know we like to get away from our phones, but there's a couple apps on our phone so that you can turn on the focus. And what it does is every minute you put your prayer request in, is it changes it, and or every
Cool.
30 seconds. And so you're able to do that and pray through it. And it's like, oh, that's not very spiritual. Look, all spiritual things start off not overly spiritual feeling. They feel like
Mm.
something that we're doing, and it starts
Right.
with that way. And
Yeah.
so we start off that way, and we read it, and we start to understand it, and then maybe we we've there's a couple speakers out there that preach through the Bible that allow us to understand a little bit more. But we surround ourselves. We get in the church. The church is for us in that, and we ask questions.
Mhm.
We don't act like we have it all together. We don't act like we know everything, and we spend some time doing that. But if we spend time with God and we spend time with God's people, that's
Mhm.
usually
Yeah.
a great setup. It's time with
True.
God, time with God's people, and God uses those people to care for you, to love you, to point out things that maybe you're not seeing, but also
Yeah.
how to take next steps.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good. I think the first 2 months that I've been here, I've just really done a lot of the silent retreat just by myself in the house, and I think it's given me more perspective of instead of asking God, "Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here?" The Lord told me, "I've called you to this place and to these people." And I think I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." And so I think the alone time with God has just really taught me to what you just said at the beginning of the podcast, where not to tell God no, because I'm like doing things that I never thought I was going to do ever. And I think just living with the hand and a life of surrender, which is a lot of humility because I had my whole life planned out by 22, 24. I should have had 3 kids by now. I have 0. So I think it's just, I don't know, surrendering. My therapist in Tampa, she would tell me like, do fruit inspection, like inspect the fruit of people. Are they becoming more kind, more patient, more loving? And I think that's also another sign of people being spiritually healthy. What's the fruit of their life, where you don't have to talk about it. Like it's literally just shows.
Do people leave better than they
Right.
came? Are
Yes.
they growing when they're around this person? And I
Yes.
think I really do believe this, Carolina. One of the most dangerous places to be is in a place where you're not understanding your purpose. Because it can make you very angry. It can make you go, I just want to go back to what I did before, or you're going to blame the church and go, well, why don't they have this place for me? Or they don't have like this is what I came in, and it's very easy to just go, I'm going to continue to do what I have always done
Right.
instead of when I walk into a new situation, going, okay, God,
Yeah.
what are you doing here that I need to step into?
I love that you mentioned the whole purpose side because that just goes to my next question. I think one of the questions that I hear a lot from our college students, they're so fixated on finding this aha moment. This is what I was created to do. Like this is very crystal clear. So how do we live what we've talked about on purpose, but without chasing the feeling of this is what I was meant to do?
Well, one thing is this is read the Bible and realize nobody knew what they were gonna do in the
True.
end. Like it God changed it. Like, I mean, most of the like a lot of the disciples were fishermen. God didn't tell them early on, hey, you're gonna be a fisherman right now, but later on you're gonna be a disciple. And so this idea that I need to know exactly what's going on ahead of me, like, and you just don't see God doing that very often. Like I said, some people get that, which is incredible. That's awesome for them to get that. But not everybody does. Not everybody gets this amazing word from God. You're gonna do this at this time, and this is what's gonna happen. But what we do is this is the best way to stay in the center of what God wants me to do is to look around, like I said, to be involved in it and to constantly be making choices that puts me in a better position for him to use me. We should always be bettering ourselves. And
Mm,
that's the thing, like sitting still is never good. And
yeah.
whatever season that you're in, I mean, if you're in school, do well in school. But at the same time, what else is it that God's calling you into? Is there a service opportunity? Is there a place in the church? Is there maybe it's just, man, getting out of your comfort zone and witnessing to somebody, like whatever it may be. But don't don't have this idea that God's going to give you every single step because he didn't give anybody those every single step. Like he gave them a step. I mean,
Right.
we can look through it and like we know the whole story of it, but even when God, God's speaking to Moses and he's like, "You're going to free my people." He didn't tell him, "Hey, and then you're going to get to this, you're going to get to the Red Sea and I'm going to part it, and then you're going to get to
Right.
the stone and you're going to hit the rock and the water's going to."
Yeah.
Like he didn't tell him all those things. He's just like,
Right.
"Start here." And so I think that's where we've got to start is I'm going to do what I can do with what God has in front of me. And then as I take steps, I move towards him. I'll say this. One of the best books that I went through when I was 18 years old, my dad led me through a study called Experiencing God by Henry Blackaby.
Mm,
Experiencing God. And it is a lot of what I'm actually saying right now, but it is probably the book that I've used the most with young adults that are asking those questions because what it does is it kind of demystifies God a little bit and it
mm,
demystifies the idea that God's just going to lay on you this ultimate plan for your life, this ultimate aha moment.
right.
And instead, what he tends to do is he opens certain doors. He has certain people encourage and affirm what you're doing. And then
Right.
at the same time, you go, okay, so my gifts and my talents kind of line up with this. People are encouraging
Hmm.
me in this. Doors
Right.
like they keep opening here. So that
Right.
must be the direction that I need to go.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so it's not a aha moment. It's looking and going, okay, is this what God's saying to me in prayer? Is this what
Mm-hmm.
God's saying to me as I read his word? Is this what God's saying to me through the people that are surrounding me? And then on
Mm-hmm.
top of it, are there things that seem to be lining up that go along with those?
Right.
Circumstances do not go first. Please don't do that. Please don't like, well, this happened at this moment. It must be God. But everybody
Right.
is like, no, you're not going to do that. Like, that's not
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, allow the circumstances to confirm what God's already telling you,
Yeah.
not the other way around.
Well, I think we've come to an end of our questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there a current theme or trend that you think are like struggling with that you wish you would see more of like rise up to the challenge?
Yeah. I I see people really excited about God right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's that initial excitement, that initial like, okay, there's something going on here. There's something special that's going on, and I see people getting into God's word more. They're actually reading it. I saw Gen Z reads their Bible more than any other generation has,
I saw that too. It's cool.
which is incredible. I would say this. I think the thing that I always am wary of in these moments is when people read their Bible but don't serve others. Because
Mm,
what can end up happening, and you see this with people, guys that go to seminary, guys that go to Bible college, when all they do is study God's word and don't live out God's word, they become very self-righteous. And they think their job is to point out everything wrong in the church and everybody else's church and everything that's going on, all that kind of stuff. And what happens is they have the knowledge of God, but they don't have the heart of God.
mm,
As we serve people, we develop the heart of God.
yeah.
And so I would say this, um, equally as important as getting to know God through his word is getting to know God through serving his people and the people around you. Um, God does an incredible job of breaking our hearts in those moments, making us realize that we don't have that much power. We're not that smart because we run into situations that we've never understood before. We run into situations where we go from a distance, we can go, well, if they just did this and this just happened,
Right.
then their life would be easy. And then you get into the situation, oh man, this is complicated. This is tough, and loving this person is hard. And I'll say this: the more we love other people, the more we realize how hard we are to love by God, but how hard it is.
Mm, yeah.
But God still loves us, and
Yeah.
so how credible it is that His love looks past all of the things that we do that are just dumb, and
Yeah.
He
Wow.
still loves us. He still pursues us. He still comes after us. And so I would say that like spend time with God and serve others. And if you continue to do that, what you're going to get is the knowledge of God, the understanding of God, but at the same time, you're going to get the heart of God.
My heart of this podcast was challenge people, and the Bible verse that God gave me was Matthew 5:13 for this podcast. We are meant to be the salt and the light of the earth. And as a believer, once we lose that, what do we have? Most of the change in my life started with the conversation. That's how I met you. Most of the change in my marriage started in a conversation. How I met Jesus started with a simple conversation and giving my life to Jesus. So again, the goal is just to have people reflect and have a conversation with God. Lord, am I spiritually unhealthy? If so, can you point the areas in my life? And don't feel shame and guilt about it, but walk in conviction, turn away and repent and keep going, you know? So thank you for all of that. That was really rich. And I have rapid fire questions. I learned it from Craig Rochelle actually. And I love that he does that. So whatever comes to mind, you just whatever you just say, okay? All right. So would you do a sauna or a cold plunge?
I I have a cold plunge, but I would rather do a sauna.
That
That's
is
easy.
so funny. Every guy says that. I'm like, what?
I mean, I'll say this: cold plunge is worse at the beginning, then gets easier. Sauna is easier at the beginning and then gets worse. And
I
so,
know.
yeah, it's both. Yeah.
I think Tyler is the only person that's excited to go hop into a cold plunge every single morning.
I am after I do something like incredibly strenuous. Like if I go outside and like I remember we played pickleball a couple times and
Yeah,
I'm like
that's true.
overheating. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't wait. I literally can't wait to get in the cold plunge.
Okay,
But
are you a matcha boy or a coffee boy?
it's coffee. I don't
Have you
like
had matcha?
grass. Yeah, it tastes like grass and
No,
dirt.
it tastes
It's
delicious.
awful. Yeah, if you put like a ton of sugar and other stuff in it.
Oh my gosh.
I literally think there's somebody in another country laughing because they're like, we made people eat grass. This is ridiculous. Like I really think that's what's going on. Like it
No.
was a joke and it caught on by some like fitness influencer and
I love
that's
it.
where it is right now.
Hey, I eat grass, I guess. All right, are you a strength trainer or endurance guy?
Strength.
If you have to go on a vacation, would you want to do mountains or on a cruise? That's crazy.
I love cruising, I really do. I love the
Said
mountains.
no one ever.
No, I do. You know, we go on one every year.
I know
Um,
it's
but have you gone on one?
yes, and it was terrible.
Was it Carnival?
No, it
What
was
was it?
Royal Caribbean,
Out of
and it was
where?
terrible.
Uh,
Tampa.
yeah, well, okay. So I don't know if you know this, but the worst ships are the ones that go out of Tampa. It's their smallest ships and cheapest. I'm being serious because they have to go underneath the bridge. I'm being dead
Oh,
serious. Dead
that's
serious.
terrible.
Like I'm not making that up. Anyway, here's the reason why I love cruises. My cell phone doesn't work. I don't have
Okay.
to worry about food. Um, literally what we do, and it's funny. My first cruise I went on, I gained 10 pounds in 7 days, and after that, what we do is we work out every morning. When we have breakfast, we do it, and literally, I lose a pound every time we go on the cruise now. And I eat a lot, but it just because I choose to start my day off differently, it does everything differently. But it's like if I want to go do something, I can do something. If I want to lay out, I can lay. I don't lay out. I read a book while my wife lays out. I can do that.
There
If
you
I
go.
want to chill, all that kind of stuff. The one thing I love the mountains. I wouldn't trade the fact that on a cruise, I don't when there's never a question who's going to make the food, where are we going to go, all that kind of stuff. Do we need to clean up? All that kind of stuff. Everything's just taken care of
It's
you
true.
for you. And
True.
so,
All
yeah.
right, I'll try a cruise again and see how it goes. What's your leadership style? Why are you laughing?
It's funny. My wife and I have been described with the same uh picture, a velvet hammer. Um,
When she
basically,
got ordained?
yeah. And
Yeah, I love
so like I'm a very straightforward person, but at the same time, like I'm always going to be there. Like my thing is this: I think you can receive some of the worst feedback if the person there is willing to walk with you through it.
yeah.
And so I don't like to waste. And it's one of those things, and you know this, Carolina. Like there's people that will continue to come to me because they know I'm not gonna just
Fluff it.
make it easy. And then
Right.
there's people that stop that. And I'm okay with that. But if they want a true answer, but also someone that's going to help them get through it, I'm going to absolutely walk them through it. And it's not like I'm mean in it, but I'm going to say this is the truth because I want you to get better. I want you to move forward. And I would say this in my leadership style, I'm very much a give a vision, let people run,
Mhm.
which some people love and some people have struggle with.
Yeah.
Your self-starters and all that absolutely love me as a leader. People that need all the information will struggle with me as a leader. And so that tends to be the
Cool.
dynamic. But yeah.
All right, boys and girls, that was Hal Mayer for you. Hal, thank you so much for being on this podcast, and I hope people get challenged by your words today.
Thank you for inviting me. It was awesome.
Cool.